This is former WWE superstar D'Lo Brown, and quite arguably the greatest European champ of all time. And you're watching Pinfalls and Pixels, where wrestling meets gaming, hosted by Glocky. And you know, if you're not down with Pinfalls and Pixels, the only thing you gotta do is recognize that.
Hey yo, it's your boy Glocky. How you doing today? How's your mama? How is everything? How's the family? Hope everybody's doing good. First off, I want to say thank you, man. Like, I appreciate y'all like so much. We just passed 17,000 subscribers. That's crazy. We already had motion before the Maven video, but it certainly helped. So today I kind of want to react to Stevie Richards. I debated for like a week or so about even making this video, but I found it as an opportunity to kind of wrap things up. So let's rewind a little bit and go to the beginning of the situation. I had rebranded my channel probably back in December. I thought it'd be cool to have a wrestler do a drop for the video, open the videos up, and lead into the videos. So I hit a bunch of people up on Instagram, X, a few emails I might have found. I didn't get like any responses, you know what I mean? Except for Just Incredible. And he's like, hey, I'll do it for 50 bucks. I didn't really want to, right? I mean, but it's a name. I was like, cool, let's do it next week. And it must have been a few days go by and he hits me up like, hey man, me and my family's hungry. I'll do it for 30 bucks if you can send it today. And I'm like, man, look, I felt kind of bad. So on some G shit, I sent him the full 50, right? That we originally agreed upon, because my brand is my reputation. My reputation reflects on my brand, right? I want to have a good reputation with the talent, with the other YouTubers, with whoever it may be. So I sent him the $50, like I said, on some G shit. And some weeks go by. And I must have messaged him like a couple, 2-3 times over the next few weeks. Like, hey man, what's up? What's good? And he would, oh, I'm in the hospital with my family, boo boo boo, or I got you, boo boo boo. Whatever the case is. So over like these few weeks, I debated like, should I even make some videos? Because I researched and I found all this stuff. I really don't want to put this video out there, right? That's not kind of like my channel. We celebrate on my channel. We don't hate on anything. Everything we talk about is to celebrate. But ultimately I was like, people need to know, right? Hopefully nobody else can get scammed. Maybe I can even make my money back, right? So I made the videos. And I must have told Justin in the DM, I was like, hey, I might not have a following here on X. I think I had like 20 some followers and I still only got like 50 some. But I said, don't get it twisted, because over on YouTube it's a little bit of a different story. And he told me, he was like, nobody's gonna listen to you, nobody's gonna believe you. Why would you do this? Boo boo boo. Boy, was he wrong. Let's get into it. Let's get into Stevie's video here.
As a matter of fact, somehow it made everything worse.
Stevie got a dope intro for sure.
One more bit of news, actually, and it comes courtesy of friend of the show, sort of best friends of the show, I guess, at this point, Maven Huffman. Now, if nothing else, it just keeps amusing me because I know I message his business partner. Obviously, you're in contact with Maven more than I am. You text him often.
I was able to tell Maven thank you through Stevie Richards, and Stevie actually emailed me after my reaction video and told me he had watched it and great job, keep up the great work. Stevie's awesome. What a dope guy. Super dope guy.
You, and occasionally me, we seem to turn up on Maven's videos recently almost as much as Maven does, which always makes me laugh. So that always tickles me. But this last one that he released on Friday, we're recording on Wednesday, so there'll be a new one by the time this show comes out. But so last Friday, I guess, when this show comes out, is regarding Just Incredible. And once again, to just...
Bro, this thumbnail, I don't remember seeing this like in a video at all. And Justin didn't answer the door. I'm pretty sure it was somebody else. So like, did they like, Maven's like, hey bro, I need you to stand in front of the door like you're opening and act surprised, get this little thumbnail. That'd be dope. Here's 20 bucks, Justin. Let's set this thumbnail up. That'd be dope as hell. That's funny. I just wonder the story behind the thumbnail.
Very briefly discuss what the video's about. Just Incredible, PJ Polacco doesn't have the greatest reputation within pro wrestling. There's been numerous allegations made against him. A lot regarding no showing promoters, demanding money after the fact, that kind of thing, or he won't work or whatever it might be. But mostly also ripping off fans when he's claiming to sell merchandise or books or whatever it is, then taking the money and then not sending out the merch as promised. And Maven...
Big facts. So many examples, as I pointed out. I don't see any reason why anybody would be lying about any of it.
basically did a sit-down interview with him. And what do you want to go on first? Do you want the first thing is actually you on saying something about a match where he went into the crowd? Do you want to discuss that first?
I saw it, and then Chris can play the clip. We're welcome to play it. Thank you very much, Maven and Zach, and you guys are always welcome, including Chris Van Vliet and any of our other podcasting brothers, to use our content. We appreciate it. But when I'm looking at the original video that it really popped up, to give a little bit of context and background, was from Pinfalls and Pixels. Did like a multi-part kind of documentary type presentation talking about all these people and showing screenshots, showing videos, emails, messages, really having a lot of evidence throughout the past decade or more of PJ doing this.
So that's the only reason I did the videos, is because of all the evidence, right? I'm not here to do hit pieces. I'm not here to hate. Like I said, here on the channel, everything we cover, we celebrate. This was kind of a one-off thing because I personally was scammed by Justin and did all that research and found all that stuff. And the reason I included Stevie's clip at the beginning, the very first thing you saw on the first episode, is because he was the only person I could find that called out Justin. The only peer of Justin's that I could find a clip of calling him out was Stevie Richards. And that's why I used that. I found it, I thought it was important, right? And it was much respect to Stevie for calling him out. So that's why I used that clip, because it was the only instance I could find. And like I said, I felt it was super important somebody did call him out. So I wanted to include that.
And they played a clip from one of our episodes where I talked about that it was complete BS, that PJ, first of all, showed up, couldn't even wait till after the show to do whatever extracurricular stuff he did. The night before, Sabu had passed out in the hotel room and been taken to the hospital. But before Sabu was taken to the hospital, PJ took a picture of Sabu slumped in a chair and posted it on social media. The next night, when PJ passed out in the locker room, Luke Hawks took a picture and uploaded it to social media. Just a little bit of a Easter egg, if you look back at that picture, I'm in the background warming up doing yoga, not even realize PJ's like passed out. But then
I've never seen those pictures. Let's try to look these pictures up and see what we can find. I'm kind of curious. Give me just a moment. So here's a picture of Justin Credible passed out from 2012. It's the only picture I could find. There was a bunch of the same picture, and I think one of them did mention the Extreme Reunion show. So I'm pretty sure this is the picture Stevie's talking about, although I don't see nobody in the background of this one. There could be other versions of this picture. I'm not sure. This is the only one I could find. Yeah, he certainly passed out. Got blood, it says on his shirt, but I think it should say got dope. And this is the picture I found of Sabu passed out. It says Extreme Reunion, and it's included with the Justin Credible one, so I'm assuming it's the one Stevie's talking about. I wonder if that's Stevie walking in the background. Could you imagine, though, being at a show and getting warmed up, doing yoga, taking it serious as you should, right? It's your craft, it's your career. So much respect to those that do take it serious. But you're doing all that, and you got these jokers over here passed out in chairs. The people that's supposed to be on the same level as you, right? The same show, and they're passed out in chairs. Like, could you imagine that? That had to have been so frustrating for some people.
And when I went out to try to sell some merchandise or whatever, PJ was going out during intermission and during some parts of the show asking the fans for gas money. And I said that was BS, that you did a disservice to the business, to the fans that paid money, and really the Extreme Reunion show, which was going to launch. There was all these different things. It wasn't just PJ, by the way. Across the board, it was a nightmare. It was like the old ECW, but in all the worst ways, with everything going on and all the goofiness of everything. And we were looking at this going, we have 2,100 people in here, the gate, the merchandise, everything, it was packed, standing room only, and it was supposed to relaunch a wrestling promotion. But when we saw this, we're like, the fans automatically had 2 strikes against us and also had a bad taste in their mouth, and PJ had a lot to do with that.
Man, like, seriously, could you imagine how frustrating that is? Everything rides on that, right? If you do everything right, there's this opportunity to make all this money. Like he said, shows, merch, everything else. People want to see the ECW superstars together. But when some of those wheels don't roll with the other wheels, it kind of throws everything off. And man, poor Stevie, bro. Like, Seriously, like he said, it wasn't just PJ, as you've seen Sabu, and I'm sure there was others. ECW had a reputation for drugs and partying, and I'm sure when like a reunion came around, some of the superstars were, hey, an opportunity to go get fucked up, right? Then you had people like Stevie who actually took it serious. It's a business. They're trying to make some money. So, man, that's, like I said, got to be really, really frustrating.
He's not the only one, so let's be fair. But it was a major story off of that. Now, the opening of this, which we can play it back and forth, Chris, the opening of this is the clip where I talked about that, a shorter version. PJ, like, did such a disservice to the business.
Oh, geez.
Like,
hold on. You saw Stevie and you said, "Oh, geez."
I already know.
He's a friend. He's a friend.
He's a friend too.
Full disclosure, a good friend of mine.
He's a good friend. Well, he's a friend.
Okay, Stevie and
I
me.
think he's got a bad idea of who I am. I think he bought into the ECW Just Incredible gimmick, and he said that to me once before.
Explain.
It's almost like a work,
right?
And that's just not. And he actually went out into the crowd and asked the fans for money. And I had said that was BS. I don't remember that at all, but like it almost like he took it more personal than I did.
Yeah.
I was going through. I have no excuses, and a lot of this was a snapshot of some bad moments in time on a 30-something-year career.
Absolutely.
And I remember this now more because I didn't know this was.
So I was watching what was it, Cafe with Rene Dupree's podcast. He had Maven and Stevie Richards both on recently, and Maven said he could only make it, I think they finished one video and maybe 2 minutes of the second video before Justin was like tapped out. He couldn't do it anymore. They were really only able to watch one video. The second video had all the more personal stuff from that book, and once again, I was able to verify anything that I was able to verify some things from the book. I couldn't verify everything because I actually wasn't there. I got some shoot interview footage that I uploaded, and it verifies some of the stuff in the book, and it would lead me to believe the author was pretty close to Justin at the time due to what they were talking about. And even when he talked about the death of the wall in the book, I was able to verify Justin was indeed in Japan that same night with them same people in a match. It's not, you know what I mean? It led me to believe there's probably more truths to this book than lies, right? I don't expect a book to be lies. But like I said, I was able to verify a few things.
What you're going to show me? But yeah, it's, it was ugly. It was ugly. And I made my peace with the promoters and with people. And it's like, what else are you going to do? You're going to keep bringing it up? And Maven right away, PJ reacts to it. Maven goes, oh, you're already reacting to this. And he's like, yeah. And PJ's kind of like, I wouldn't be comfortable either. But then Maven already.
Because he knows he's a fucking jokester. You know what I mean? He's a bum. And Stevie is somebody who is respectable and takes the business serious. So I can understand Justin seeing Stevie and being like, oh, man. You know what I mean?
He told him we're going to discuss some tough stuff, which PJ was like, fine. And he goes, I'm just telling you right now, Stevie is a friend. And he goes, oh, yeah. PJ goes, yeah, he's a friend. He goes, he's a good friend. And this popped me so huge. You know where I'm going. He's about to say he's a good friend. He goes, he's a friend. He's already, I was like, yeah, you're laying in the boots to me. I love it. Because of what he's doing throughout this entire thing, and we're going to break it down a little bit more. The entire thing is deflection, distraction. You bring up a good point about this, but did you know that Stevie bought my Just Incredible gimmick? What does it have to do with anything? Like, Maven's presenting what I said about that night, and PJ saying, oh, a completely different answer, by the way. Not, why is Stevie calling you out? What happened? What's the real story? But what he said was, the first time that I really traveled with him, I said, you know what?
And that's what I said in my reaction video. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Stevie's talking about a specific event, and you over here talking about a damn gimmick, bruh.
PJ go, man, you're really a quiet, laid-back guy. And I was like, that's awesome that you can convince me when I'm watching Just Incredible's promos, your facial expressions and everything. I'm like, this dude's a badass, and this dude's a pretty mean dude. How's that a negative? Like, he made
like, for real, how is that a negative? Stevie's probably like giving this dude some kudos, you know what I mean? Support, some props. And Justin in his head is like, what a fucking mark, you know what I mean? He bought the gimmick. Like, what kind of mindset is that?
It sounded like I was believing the Just Incredible presentation as a character when I got to know PJ Polacco, the man at the time. I'm saying that's great. You made me to suspend disbelief when I watched your promos and matches. But what he said was, it's an ad hominem attack to say Stevie has no credibility because he's a mark. In other words, what does going out drunk or drugged up or high out into a crowd asking for gas money have to do with me believing your character? Do you see what I mean? The whole thing was deflection, distraction, a totally different answer to the actual question, and just saying whatever.
Facts, big facts. But we already knew that. I already told y'all before the Maven thing came out. I was like, it's probably just going to be all straight cap. And it was.
It's even worse than that because...
I was trying to be nice.
What was I going to get at there? No, well, it is worse than that because he's saying, well, you know, him going out for gas. I don't remember that, but apparently you do,
Stevie
and it
takes
meant
it
more
way
to
more
you.
personally than I do. Well, PJ, here's the...
You didn't remember it, apparently, because you were too
here's the
drunk
problem,
up.
PJ. It's your reputation. It's your career. It's your future earnings and bookings. You should take it more personally than I did. I took it personally because I saw a true opportunity for me and other guys and girls to perform, make money outside WWE, and have a new lease on life and maybe have a full-time wrestling career once again. So you're damn right I take it personally. And so did Shane Douglas, Luke Hawks, and everybody else who wasn't out of their mind that night, which there was too many people all effed up. So it's not just you. But they didn't go out and ask the people for money. The people didn't see them drunk and high and desperate for money.
So not only has Justin scammed podcast fans, promoters, but Stevie makes a good point. Like, there's probably so much missed money for Stevie and others due to Justin's actions and the actions of others. Probably like Sabu. I fuck with Sabu, but let's don't get it twisted. Let's not lie to ourselves. Sabu is crazy as fuck, you know what I mean?
And you still wanted to work. Or not work. I'm sorry, let me correct it. You did not want to work, but you still wanted to get paid. And you got mad at Shane Douglas and Steve O'Neill when they wouldn't pay you for not working.
There's more. Okay, there's something else that you brought up a while ago. We'll just do this very, very quickly, then we'll address the rest of the video. Originally, when we talked about Just Incredible, which is where that clip came from for... what's the original channel? Something in Pixels?
Pinfalls and Pixels.
Pinfalls and Pixels, excuse me. And
link for that will be in the description below as well.
Yeah. So...
Appreciate that. And you already know the link for this video will be in the description. And I'll even link the cafe with Renee that Maven and Stevie were both on down below because I highly recommend it. It's a great watch.
So that clip was taken from a clip probably I think it was called like Just Incredible Isn't Happy With Me. And it's regarding the YouTube channel that he had many years ago. And I remember being really excited about the concept for it because there's so many more, well, not so many more, but you know, you Maven, a couple of other people who actually make these wrestling shows more than just a Zoom recording, basically, and put the effort in. And Just Incredible was one of the first people to do it with Pro Wrestling 101, I think it was called. And then he just stopped doing it. And I don't know if he got bored or got distracted or anything like that. But essentially, he then said many years later, when you did the analytics channel, you stole his idea. Despite the fact that, one, Just Incredible hadn't done anything for years regarding YouTube, pretty much, and two, the YouTube concepts of both channels were completely different.
How is this stealing ideas? I never personally watched Pro Wrestling 101. Never seen an episode, a clip, nothing. So let me know in the comments if you did, if you enjoyed it or not.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And the thing with PJ, and by the way, PJ's still a friend. And the reason why he's still a friend, and it doesn't make sense from the things I just said to some people, is because I'm telling a truth. I'm doing what most people wouldn't do in PJ's life for however long. I'm not going to enable him. Maven didn't either. Maven at the end.
And to be honest, Stevie's probably from what I could tell, and Maven too, the greatest friends to PJ, because they seem like to be the only people that actually care about his well-being, about his reputation.
This video, and we'll talk about that, had to record a talking head shot updating everybody. I have to tell you about that Maven video. Maven, just a side note, Maven's growth, not as a YouTuber, but as a host of content, has grown so substantially, and I'm so proud. He can have a different look. It's not just, hey guys, Maven here, I'm going to tell you how to cut yourself with a razor blade or whatever. Now it's literally these organic type. Dude, it reminded me of To Catch a Predator. That whole video reminded me, and then the
Maven was on his cheater shit out there. No, the production was super dope. Like, the video was amazing. Everything about it. The production, the soundtrack they did, the clips, how they edited it. Man, I love that video. Super well done. Shout out to Maven. Shout out to his whole crew.
The Fallout video, Maven commentating on it, but
there's one problem. There's one problem though. There's one problem with it, is that maybe that was by design. So Maven, you tell me if I'm right or wrong. He didn't confront him initially with something that was obviously a lie, or something that
he didn't push back as much as probably people would want him to.
Exactly.
But I believe in the beginning, Maven was letting PJ, whether for good or bad reasons for PJ, just let him talk and answer and go unanswered because he knew they would get answered in the comments. However, I had a conversation with Maven, and he had said, watch all the way to the end because I'm on camera and I don't want it to seem jarring, or I didn't know the exact adjective, but watch and tell me. And I said, dude, that was absolutely the best thing you could have done, because you sat there and watched him answer and you didn't push back. You brought it all the way back around with an update and said, apparently hasn't changed. He's no-showing, he's begging for money, and Maven understands second chances. He can say it better than me, so please watch the video all the way through to the end. But Maven, with his past, with getting arrested, with the drug use, and
I'm glad he included that ending. It was absolutely necessary. It probably would have been kind of a bad look if he didn't. My only complaint, though, from the Maven video was the focus of the Stephanie McMahon part from my video. I believe in the book it said something about he was no-showing events, kind of pissed off Stephanie McMahon, and was let go. And here's the thing with that. I uploaded a short interview of Justin talking about being in Texas, smoking meth with Jeff Hardy, holding up Stephanie's plane that had other people on it, all these other people, right? And Stevie on Cafe with Renee would actually verify that, because Stevie was on that plane. And they were just, hours late and holding the entire plane up, right? So, and it's like, at the end of the day, true or false, out of everything that happened, out of everything those videos covered, who the fuck cares if that's true or not, right? Who the fuck cares if it was actually Stephanie that fired him or not, right? That's like small shit compared to everything that these videos cover. And that could be because they didn't have enough footage of everything else, because like Maven said, he tapped out pretty early on into the second video. But that's my only complaint. Very small complaint, but it's like, who cares? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, who cares who called Justin to fire his bum ass?
hitting rock bottom. Maven believes in second chances, but he said the thing that really, I say God helps those that help themselves. Maven said basically, I believe in second chances, but the ball is in your court, PJ. It's up to PJ. Mm-hmm. We can talk, Maven can talk, DDP can have him doing yoga until the end of time. It's not going to help unless PJ is sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it might be too late, man. I don't want to say that, but at this point, you're doing interviews and you're looking for somebody to just enable you and say you're right, which Maven did not push back. In Justin's eyes, or PJ's eyes, he redeemed himself with that interview. It was terrible. It didn't do him any favors. As a matter of fact, somehow it made everything worse.
It really did. Like, I think I went on to his ex a day or two after this post. He got me blocked, so I can only read stuff. But it was a lot of people. It was a lot of people on one of his posts talking hella shit about him scamming people. So that was pretty funny.
I don't want to say, as someone who has been a professional interviewer for quite a number of years, what I said about Maven was not a criticism per se, because there's two different ways you can go about an interview. You can either push back, and then you risk getting the interview cut short very, very quickly. Or you can basically... The person almost interviews themselves. It's almost like a police interrogation.
He gave him enough rope to hang himself with the interview.
Exactly, and that's basically what's happened here, because it's almost like a police interrogation. We don't have interrogations here, we have police interviews, by the way. But like a police interview, where the interviewer wants to say as little as possible. If you can get the person talking, let him keep talking. Sooner or later, they will slip. And in Justin's case, very soon indeed, because we get to what I just find absolutely abhorrent, to the point that he should be absolutely arrested for this, is that he has admitted on camera, and it's got over 400,000 people, whatever views it is, as we record this, that he has stolen money from people for merchandise that's never going to make their way to the person who's paid him in good faith. And his excuse was, I don't have the quote right in front of me, but it's essentially, well, you know, by the time I got the money, well, you know, my family had to eat. I was like, oh, excuse me, forget your family. No, what you've done is you...
Hey, bro ain't lying. I fuck with this dude. He petty. I'm petty too. I fuck with this dude. He ain't lying though. Like, no personal stuff. Like, not like literally fuck his family, but like, fuck that excuse for real. Like, the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what does your family have to do with this transaction? This dude is cool. I can't believe he said that. That's amazing. That's awesome. You know, we should get some fuck PJ t-shirts on the website. What do you think? I ain't gonna make no fuck PJ t-shirts. Hey, I'm probably gonna upload some fuck PJ t-shirts.
You have accepted a contract that you need to fulfill by paying. Sorry, by giving the service or product.
Goods or services that you got paid to deliver.
Exactly. It's like, no. You don't just take people's money and then buy it for food, which actually we probably know what the money went to, and it probably wasn't food.
Bro is keeping it straight real right now. I'm not gonna lie. And he is being blunt, so I respect that. I respect that a lot. I mess with this dude right here.
I mean, it probably was as well. But, yeah, it's just an absolute disgrace. And he's been doing it for years now. And people want to give him a second chance and pay him money, and eventually nothing ever comes, because it's just free money to him, and he justifies it to himself. In his own brain, he thinks, well, you know, I mean, I needed the money more than you needed the money. That's basically what he's saying.
That is what he's saying. He's like, oh, it's not like it was $400 or something. That is what he's saying, and that's fucked up.
I'm glad you brought that up, because this is an epidemic or a pandemic amongst all wrestlers, especially for my generation. Wrestling, this is the part of wrestling that, thank God, nothing came easy for me, because you know what pro wrestling trains you to do? To be as lazy as possible and earn the most amount of money. You've dealt with this with people in the sphere of just these wrestling shows and podcasts. Here's the problem. Most of the guys and girls, and we're going to leave out, I mean, I'm talking about my generation. It might be before me or after me as well. Let us know in the comments. But basically, what happens is there's this weird kind of shift. In other words, what PJ did, and this is my interpretation, and he was so close to calling fans marks during this a few times, because that's the how should I say, that's the way to discredit a human being that's a wrestling fan that pays you for something, because you
serves you right.
Serves you, you're a mark. It's your fault. Hey, I'm a scorpion. I told you I was a scorpion, right? That old story with the scorpion and the frog. Mm-hmm. But with PJ, yeah, the direct quote of, well, after I had to buy food, there was no money to ship it out. It's just like, okay, but here's the problem I have with pro wrestling, and we're talking about cameos earlier.
Some of the stuff, like I said, don't even cost money to ship out, like cameos, videos, whatever the case is. But like, ship the stuff out and then you use your profit. Like, Justin Credible could never be a hustler. He gonna spend the whole re-up money. He gonna spend it all.
Problem I have with a lot of pro wrestlers, and probably the reason a lot of them have a problem with me, is because I value when somebody gives me money, and I try to turn around that product as soon as possible. It's very simple. Just like getting booked. This is the same vein. When you get booked, you show up unable to perform, and you can't perform, but you stick your hand out for money. What part of this don't you get? It's an exchange. So in other words, I get so mad at wrestlers that act like this is a job and not a gift. In other words, cameos, signed t-shirts, signed merchandise, all these different things, whatever it is, cameo, anything is a gift of money, especially in this economy in 2025. I'm like, when I get a Patreon supporter, even for $1, I'm like, my God, how can I bring value? How can we bring value to that person? Because
And I could back this up 100%, 150%. I could back this up. Stevie is so respectable and so professional, and I'm gonna tell you why. So Willie Mack was the first person to do a drop for the channel. Super dope dude, super awesome. We highly fuck with Willie Mack over here, right? But after getting scammed by Justin, I was like, I'm not trying to do that again. Let me go over to Cameo and see what happens, right? I got Stevie, and let me tell you, Stevie went above and beyond. Stevie actually looked up my email, went and found my email, right? Because it was he emailed the channel's email, which is probably you had to find on my YouTube about me page or something like that. He found my email. He emailed me. He emailed me like the video outside of Cameo, so there's no watermark. It was horizontal orientation, so it wasn't just like the vertical Cameo one. And I think he even like optimized the audio, he edited it. What a dope dude. Like above and beyond. All he had to do was upload it and that would have been it. And you know what I mean? I had to have been happy with that, and I probably would have been. But he went above and beyond, like crazy. And that's why I'll always support and respect Stevie Richards. And not to mention, he's like, besides Willie Mack, one of the first wrestlers to actually hook the channel up with that. Because even if you do it on Cameo, they don't have to do it. There's a lot that goes unanswered, it gets declined, you know what I mean? So one of the first people, so that's why I always respect Stevie, and I'll fully back up what he's saying right here.
dollar is hard to come by for a lot of people, and $1 can go to other things. So when they choose to spend $1 or however much on anything, I honor that and try to give them the maximum amount of value. Even free here on YouTube, we get AdSense. So if we can get these people to enjoy and value the content, it converts monetarily. What I hate is when these wrestlers, some switch flips in their brain where they're like, well, it's an honor for you to give me money. Yeah, I'm letting you pay me. And if I give you something back, that's just a bonus. But I deserve the money, but you might not get the thing. So for lack of a better way of putting it, it pisses me off how these wrestlers piss away every opportunity to make money. And guess what? People are still trying to book PJ in 2025.
That's crazy. Wrestling fans are some of the most forgiving fans, and it could be just for some content they're trying to book Justin at this point, right? I do know he has a booking in I think it's Minnesota this weekend, so I'll keep an eye on that and see what happens to see if he actually shows up.
That's on the level of sickness. Are you just wondering, well, if he comes in, I'll have a story for my promotion? So nobody's innocent in this, because you continue to enable this guy, and nothing I want more in this frame that we're talking about this than for PJ to prove me wrong, get in the best shape, get clean, outdraw me on YouTube, bring back Pro Wrestling 101, have 10 times the views and money that we make here, and show me, make me see. Get your revenge on me, PJ. Get clean and say Stevie Richards is a blowhard, and I'm going to show him because I'm going to make enough money to buy a house and take care of my wife and kids, and say F you to that guy. Come on. That's a challenge.
That's what a W friend. W man's right there. You know what I mean? Stevie really cares about PJ. Yeah, what PJ does pisses Stevie off to no end, I'm sure. What PJ and others have done has probably really frustrated Stevie to no end. But what a great friend. W man's right there. Super dope video. Shout out to Stevie. Shout out to Maven. But most importantly, shout out to y'all. Thank you for watching. I appreciate y'all. This will probably wrap up the Justin Credible saga unless anything new comes of it. But I think we could put a bow on this one and ship it out the door. We actually gonna ship it, unlike Just Incredible. Hey, yo, I'm Glocky. Make sure you like and subscribe. Also subscribe to Stevie's channel and Maven's channel. Make sure you do that. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.